looks like we're recording. Yeah. So, hey, Brad, how are you today?
Well, Pat, how are you?
Good. I appreciate you taking the time. I know things are a little bit crazy, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce you to, everybody that's kind of watching and paying attention to some of the stuff that we're doing at AMP Human. Brad Wilkins is the chair of our science advisory board, and he's got a really interesting background. So, Brad, if you'd like to, love to hear about, a little bit of your backstory.
Yeah, great. My name is Brad Wilkins. I have a PhD in human physiology. I did that at the University of Oregon many years ago. I also did a postdoctoral fellowship at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where I got the opportunity to work with some great scientists, one of which is Dr. Michael Joyner, who's a world-renowned exercise physiologist. Focus of my work has been in exercise and environmental physiology, and really how the environment and exercise and training loads and adaptations impacts the physiology of performance. And so after my postdoctoral fellowship, I went and I worked at Nike in the Nike Sport Research Lab for a number of years. Again, really focusing on performance physiology. I was involved in developing some of the wearable technology that Nike was doing there for a little while. I ran the lab that did all the science and math that went into some of Nike's wearable technology. Probably most notably, I was honored to be one of the lead scientists. I led the scientific strategy for Nike's Breaking 2 project, which was Nike's quest to break the 2-hour marathon barrier. Eliud Kipchoge got really close when we ran that project. He's since broken the 2-hour marathon barrier, so we like to feel like we played a little bit of a role in the progression towards that. So that was one of my most, notable things that I was able to do when I was at Nike. Since leaving Nike a few years ago, helping companies really think about what kind of science they have behind their ideas and innovations and products. And that's what led me to AMP. And they asked me to develop their scientific advisory board and really set the stage and the background for the scientific backing or the scientific kind of rigor behind the way that AMP Human thinks. And so I'm a member and chair of that scientific advisory board.
People are stuck at home right now. Some people don't have access to a gym, and they're trying to figure out, how to maintain their training. What type of tips or tricks could you suggest to somebody who doesn't have access to everything that they used to have to kind of try and keep pushing forward?
Yeah, I think this is a really good time for us to kind of just take a step back from what we may consider as training. And I think it's a great time to just kind of refocus and understand what it is we're doing. So just basically take a step back and really ask yourself, why was I training that way? Or why am I training this way? What's the purpose? Try to understand the intention of everything that you're doing. So what is, really why am I doing things the way that I'm doing it? And from that, try to understand, where might something be missing? Am I focused too far over here? Do I not have the wide breadth of approach to my health and my overall well-being and my training, depending on what my goals are? Where are any imbalances? Are those, is there any mechanical imbalance? Like, do I have something with my body that might be imbalanced or not balanced? Do I have anything with my nutrition that might not be balanced? Do I have anything with my physiology that's not balanced? And try to really understand where those imbalances may occur. And then now's a great time to try to fix that. Okay, I'm going to focus for the next little bit on my mechanics, or on this part of my physiology, or this my nutrition. And instead of just blinders on going after some goal, it's like, let's take a step back. Right. Where might something be missing in my training or my overall well-being that I can focus on for a little while? And getting back to the basics of body weight training, and getting back to the basics of just going for a good run. Kind of thinking about it that way. I think now's a really good time to just almost in every part of our life, just take a little bit of a step back if we're able to, and just kind of say, all right, what do I really want to do? And that goes for life questions as well as training and performance outcome kind of questions. So
you mentioned Kipchoge. Obviously, he's a monster in the sport of running. Let's say I'm somebody at home and I'm not necessarily, a 4:35 miler perpetually. What are one or two things that if I'm not getting the volume in that I used to get in, what are a couple of things that I should maybe take a step back and look at specifically?
Maybe this doesn't answer your question directly, but I think it's an important point, is that people like Elliot, athletes like Elliot, they are very intentional with their training, and they never go off script. They have a plan, and their plan includes intentional training sessions, intentional rest sessions, intentional recovery modalities. Everything is very intentional. The training sessions that they have, that the load that they're incurring on the system during that training session has a specific purpose. Then the next day, that load has a specific purpose. And their rest sessions and their days off, those are scheduled and intentional. And they never go off that script. Elliot is very, very stringent and strict. One of the things I think people can work on right now is how can I be more intentional, both in my training and the specific response I want from training, but also, and almost more importantly, my recovery and my rest, and making sure that I intentionally do both of those things, because we only adapt to stress during the recovery periods, right? So, or we only adapt to a training load during a recovery period. So we need to make sure that we are intentional about recovery and allowing ourselves to have that time, as much as we are as about being intentional with the training stress per se.
Yeah.
So now go back to your question a little bit more specifically. I think what you should focus on, whether that's balance or whatever you should focus on, again, I guess I just kind of go back to, where are the imbalances in your training? Where are there things that might be missing that you haven't done for a long time? Have you been focusing on just weight room for the last 2 years? If so, go for a run. Like, get out and do something different and kind of focus on another part of your physiology and your mechanics for overall well-being.
So let's say I'm somebody who is used to weight training, like you just talked about, who's been more like hit workouts in the gym and hasn't really been getting after cardio. What are a couple of things that I can do to then take a look at, okay, I'm going for a run. Should I be worried about the distance I'm covering? Should I be worried about the tempo? How do I go about thinking of that running workout in the same way? Because I'm a sets and reps guy. I understand that, right? But how do I then go about thinking at a really base level, hey, these are some of the things that I should be looking to accomplish in running on day 1 versus day 3 versus day 5 as I'm setting up my week?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more philosophical than that, Patrick. I feel like we need to kind of get back to play almost, and for play in quotes, for lack of a better term, just go for a run for the sake of being active and going for a run. I wouldn't worry about how far do I need to go today? What's my heart rate response? What's my intensity? What's my speed? Just go out and go for a run. Yeah. And when you feel like you need to turn around to go home without being terribly tired, turn around, and then do that for a few weeks and see. Then you start to understand, okay, I can go at this speed for this long. Now let's see if I can go faster, and then start to push yourself. But have fun with it. Go play and just enjoy being active for the sake of being active.
You mentioned nutrition a little bit. Obviously here at Amp Human, we're always keeping our eye on the horizon. With people stuck inside, is there anything that we should be specifically aware of nutritionally to make sure that we're getting enough of, or, because diet's a funny thing like that?
The one thing I guess I'm concerned about right now is sunlight. Getting enough sunlight. Sunlight's one of the best ways to get enough vitamin D, for example, because it's, we have trouble absorbing enough vitamin D when we're eating just normal foods and stuff like that. And sun exposure actually is the best way for us to get a good source of vitamin D anyway. So, I think getting out in the sun, on a good walk or a good run, and for 20 to 30 minutes a day can get you, wearing shorts and a t-shirt kind of deal has been shown to increase levels of vitamin D. So that's a great source. And again, I just kind of go back to balance. Like if you're eating too much of one thing, now it's time to pay attention to your diet, just like it is time to pay attention to your training plan.
Yeah.
It's, what am I doing too much of? What am I doing too little of? Variety and diversity in our diet is super important. So like there's more vegetables out there than just spinach, right? Like, so, so I try to broaden those kinds of things. So I think that's a great way to think about, what am I doing too much of or too little of? And now's a good time to just kind of have a broadened view about how to increase the diversity of my diet.
Well, I mean, with that's what I wanted to cover today. I really appreciate the time.